look, this is hard to say. I strongly believe that 50% of the people who lived in the Palisades are not going to be moving back to the Palisades.
Why?
Yeah. And honestly, that number wasn't as big last week in my mind. But after the phone calls that I've been getting, people who are moving to Brentwood, Santa Monica, Bel Air, Beverly Hills, those are going to be the markets that are going to go up because people want to be as close to normalcy as possible.
Yeah.
And those are those towns right around the Palisades.
Yeah.
Those are going to go up, that market. That's where they're going to move. It's going to be too long. You got to realize Palisades is the all-American town, right?
Yeah.
The families are running around. It's like what you picture towns in movies that we used to watch.
Yeah.
These kids that are 5 years old right now that live in the Palisades and go to school, there's a chance that if things don't move fast, it could be 4 to 5 years before they're back there. These kids are now 10. They're going to different schools,
right? They're
different lives now, you know. So it's tough because picture you living on a street. You're the first house finished, and every other house on the street is in construction.
Yeah.
Think about that. You don't want to do that. You want to wake up every single morning and be reminded of that.
Right. It's traumatic.
I'm negotiating almost a dozen deals right now on land in the Palisades, much faster than I ever thought I would be doing. People are already trying to sell their dirt, knowing that they're not going to go back there, to home builders that will then build their house and either keep it or sell it.
So because obviously some people with the Wildfire, this could be their second time rebuilding with Malibu and stuff like that.
It's just hard.
Who's going to move to the Palisades, or are we going to see that city kind of
The calls
end?
that I've got have been across the board of, I'm 70 years old. I just evacuated from my last time. I'm out. I'm never going back.
Where are they going?
Okay, that was the Palisades. So they're either going locally, or because of, they're fed up with the regulations and government, they're out.
California.
And if they're not and they're out of LA, they're going down to Newport Beach.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
I'm getting a huge amount of calls from people who want to move down to Orange County.
Really?
Yeah. A majority of the people, unfortunately, because I've been on the phone with my insurance agent for hours every day.
Yeah.
Majority of the people were heavily uninsured. And that's an issue. And that's why they're not going to go back to the Palisades.
Yeah.
Because in order to recreate the house that they lived in, their dream house, they're not going to be able to afford it. And that's just the horrible thing.
I want to know, why is this happening? Why is all of this going on all of a sudden? I mean, we are not a developing country. This is not the Soviet Union in, what was it, 1980s.
Yeah.
I mean, so what's going on? This is Mel Gibson. He recently did an interview. He had a home in Malibu that was destroyed by the fires also. And check out what he has to say.
I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be, I don't know. Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
Well, Mel, there's already talk, and we played a couple of sound bites of reimagining the way rebuilding occurs. And obviously there's a great need for high-density housing in California and across the country. That's a big push by the climate folks. And you're already hearing rumblings of that. In this case, like, goodbye single-family homes, hello high-density housing.
Yeah. It's pretty scary, and it'll take decades to do that too. It's like even if it if it's a good idea, which I don't know if it is, but reminds me of the old cattle barons clearing people off the land, But I don't know. I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know. But they seem pretty well.
I think this is much, much deeper. I think we've been talking about this for a while, how this plan is coming for 2030. The Olympics is coming to California specifically in 2028. But we know that the left and globalists are pushing, they're trying to transform the cities and many of the spaces within America. The total transformation like nothing that we've seen. And one thing, they're trying to turn a lot of these areas into renter nations. No longer will you own anything. You will rent everything. They're trying to get rid of gas-powered everything, from your furnace to your blower and everything in between, stove. They're trying to get rid of that. They are also doing something called C40 Cities Initiative. Please research this. So Los Angeles is part of the global C40 Cities Initiative aimed at restructuring urban areas to address climate change in alignment with the UN goals. So this incorporates livable communities initiatives. A big place where this was going to be impacted is the Pacific Palisades. And so what better way would they have than to architect some type of massive event that would destroy pretty much this area? And what do they have to do now? Rebuild it. Now, we know that these areas are just overrun with bureaucracy and regulations. You know, there's stories of many people who had fires in the past were not able to rebuild their homes because the codes are so out of whack. So this would be a prime opportunity for these leftists to now put forward this transformative change. I think this is what this is. I think that they did this purposely. I don't know if it was arson, but I believe that they were set up with remove the water, because this isn't the first time we've seen fires in wildfires in California. They've removed the water. They've decreased the funding to the fire department. Also, the whole place would burn down, and now they can implement these transformative cities.
It makes sense. And it makes sense. It aligns with the fact that some people have seen someone coming in dressed as a firefighter and setting up fires. So it kind of aligns with that it's possible. And they want to build these 15-minute cities that will look completely different from what it looks like now. So people can walk to places. They don't need to use cars. So they want to eliminate this culture that we have in America where, you have your property and you have your car and you can go anywhere. And now that's what they did in the Soviet Union.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, they had this whole engineering, in the 20th century. All the neighborhoods are built in the way that, there's buildings facing each other, there's a playground, there's a store, there's a kindergarten, there's a school, and it's already been designed like that. It's a very common design that you are able to walk anywhere and you don't need to leave.
Well, look we know their game plan. They did the same thing with COVID. So we had this global pandemic that they created, and with that, they ushered in ballots, 30-day, 40-day mail-in voting. They changed the way many places here in Baltimore City no longer take cash. You can only pay with credit card. So we're so slowly moving towards this cashless environment. Again, this really took off during the lockdowns and the virtual learning. That took off during the lockdowns. Again, it all coincides to this idea of you don't have to leave your home. Everything stays put. This is what they are doing. And we need to get ready, because it sounds like the game plan is to create these types of events to then usher in all types of new programs.
Yeah, it makes sense, because we know that wherever there's a natural disaster or some kind of trauma to the earth, if you will, in our country, money follows. This big bubble of infrastructure, and the structure is never inferred. Okay,
Right.
It's never done. It's never completed. It's almost never set up to benefit the people in those communities or states. So again, the money's going to follow, and we'll see. I mean, it makes sense. Well, I forget who wrote the book. You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
And look what they did to the insurance companies. Why would you do that? They made it so that insurance companies, it was not economical for them to even continue to cover fires in California. And it was done by the California government. That what they implemented some type of system where
almost like
property owners couldn't
do. So they had a balance, or not a balance, a ceiling, if you will, that price controls basically. That insurance companies couldn't charge more whatever the rates were. So they're going to leave. Now, it hurts the wealthy people, but it hurts the poor people much more because they don't have any extra cash like the wealthy people have millions of dollars in bank accounts around the world.
They can sell
other homes they can live in,
and other homes
sure.
they can go to. Again, I'm not poo-pooing anyone, wealthy or not, but it hurts them. Stop voting against yourselves. Stop voting against your own interests. These people look good. Gavin Newsom has more hair mousse than we have up here combined, and we're women. Okay? Stop voting for people just because they look a certain way or they sound good. Damn it. Look at your houses are literally burning. Your children's schools. I mean, you're losing your communities. Stop voting that way.
Yeah.
But